Kim Il Sung and Kim Jong Il's birthdays are the most celebrated holidays in North Korea.
After the regime falls, do you think any of those people who grew up doing that will still want to celebrate those days, you think?
Like the last question was that, like, how is Jeong different in South Korea compared to North Korea, or is it the same? I guess it's basically probably the same, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
I think so.
I think it's from like before the Korea got separated, right? And though, like in South Korea nowadays, I think it's a little different.
I
Like,
think you're right.
I think it's way different. Like for example, like compared to Western, right? So when you think about like Christmas, right? We think of that as like family time, right? We hang out with like
That's right.
our family, and also sometimes like we visit friends. But in South Korea, Christmas is much more like towards like couples holiday, right?
Yeah.
It's not like family time. It's I think South Korea also is in a way like I'm not sure the entire South Korea, but at least like in the crowded in the heart of like the city, right? Those are much more like individualistic, whereas like a family.
Yeah,
was,
that's right. So a lot of kind of nuclear families, and also these days, a lot of people who live alone, actually, they have separated out from their parents, their like, family home,
Right.
but they haven't married yet. They don't have a partner yet, so they live alone. And one thing I will say though is that, let's see, comparison of shoot, and now it's escaping me. What were you saying about the South Korea Jeong?
Yeah, it's like it's individualistic, much more of like if you look at
Christmas. Yeah, Christmas. So yeah, I do want to point out that Christmas is a Western holiday.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not actually one of the biggest holidays that's traditionally recognized in Korea. So in South
Thanksgiving
Korea,
is much more of like a Thanksgiving is much more of like Chuseok, right?
Yeah, Chuseok is the Korean
national
equivalent
holiday.
of Thanksgiving. So if you think about like if you want to do apples to apples comparison, I would say if you look at how Korean people celebrate Chuseok versus Thanksgiving, it's actually quite similar. It's very family oriented. But another thing that I would say is that a lot of people, especially young people, have used that long holiday opportunity to, instead of going to do traditional things with their family, because sometimes it could be a little more ritualistic than like we're gonna get together, spend time as a family. Depends on the family culture. But so some people who feel a little burdened by the fact that, I have to travel, see family, and I feel like I've done this enough, they would opt to go on a trip, like an overseas trip. So you're right. The individualistic kind of influence of the Western culture, and not to blame it on the Western culture, has definitely pervaded South Korea.
I think it's a good thing, in a way that like South Korea, like when I visited South Korea, like I realized how like westernized it was. Like the one thing that I was looking for, did I go over the episode yet or no? Probably not, but I don't think I've spoke about going to South Korea. I
don't think you did.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because where are we in your story? Like you're just making it to your coding boot camp and haven't actually been out there yet, have you? In our story, in your chronicle.
Possibly. Sorry, it's been just long. But I mean, what I was saying is that like the short time that I got to be in South Korea, I felt like it was a small New York. It was like a smaller and much cleaner version of New York. Because it was just so crowded, so many people, and because as I was stepping into South Korea, I had this kind of expectation of, my home country. It's like I wanted to feel this kind of like nostalgic kind of Korea, like it's my motherland,
Yeah.
But I could not find that anywhere. It's like concrete roads like everywhere. It was literally like a concrete jungle.
It kind of is, yeah.
Well, I mean, Seoul is like, I mean,
it is.
it's a concrete jungle.
You have to find like rural areas. Not find. They're available, but you kind of have to go to the outskirts of the city,
right? And even like a countryside,
nostalgic North Korean vibes.
Yeah. But I could not find that. I think the other thing is that like North Korean culture has been shaped, like it has been shaped so much with those Kim dictators, right? Like everything has to be centered around the Kim's family. So like the national holiday, like Chuseok, right? That's not the most celebrated. Like Kim Il Sung and Kim Jong Il's birthdays are the most celebrated holidays in North Korea, right?
Right.
And like we do activities like around that.
But it's not about the family.
It's not about the family.
Okay, right.
It's about like literally getting up like 5 a.m. in the morning. We dress up, we bring a flower, and then we go pay respect to like Kim Il Sung's like a portraits, right? As like a neighbors.
Yikes.
Like we go no, literally we go all together, right? So that's kind of like how North Korean culture has been shaped.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be weird when North Korean like regime falls, right? And
do you think any of those people who grew up doing that will still, after the regime falls, still want to celebrate those days, you think?
That's a great question, and I feel like some people will, because it's just like some people like,
I mean, they're brainwashed, right?
Yeah, some people, it's just so deeply embedded into their daily life. It's like it's part of like who they are. It's part of them. So they might do that, but I mean like, and also there's sometimes like people like me, it's like rebel against the regime and just.
Well, I mean, you also told me, however, though, that it took you years until you were able to like, wait a minute, it's actually the leaders who are bad. You didn't directly blame them for.
Yeah, I mean, in America, until I came to America, I was like, I don't know. I think it's the fault of like the local regimes, that actually brainwashing. I mean, that actually lying to us,
right,
and lying to Kim Jong Il.
And then the Kim's family was faultless. So
yeah,
you believe that? Wow.
But